Hello, God bless from Up Ministries. It's me, Dick Jr. I'm coming to you to read you 2 Samuel 24, which is the last chapter in 2 Samuel. After that, we're going to start 1 Kings. Didn't take any references out of this. I usually don't haven't out of Samuel or 2 Samuel. It's mostly histories of David, King David, and also King Saul, who was before David. So those things being said, I prayed. I asked God to help me speak with you today. And I suggest that anytime you place yourself in God's word that you ask him for knowledge, wisdom, and understanding specifically. But I also suggest that you take other things to him in prayer as well and just see how it works. I can't make any promises on that, but I can tell you that my life is completely different according to time that I've spent with God, whether it be in his word or in prayer. But God has changed my life completely and in so many ways. I'm so blessed. I'm going to go ahead and get started here in 2 Samuel chapter 24. I may stumble and stone a little bit. There's names in here, newer names that I haven't read often. So sometimes they're hard for me to pronounce since I don't have since I don't have a reference per se. I could ask one of the young men at our church. He speaks Hebrew, so maybe I'll find out from him. At some point, I'm sure I will. We get together and have Bible study, and sometimes he shows up. So I'll ask him how to pronounce some of these names that I don't understand, because these are names that would appear in Torah, and so they are written in Hebrew and pronounced in Hebrew, and translated into English, of course. Anyway, so those things being said, I'm going to go ahead and get started, and let's get this last chapter of 2 Samuel read, and I can mark another book complete in my on my YouTube channel. So let's get started. Now again, the anger of the Lord burned against Israel, and it incited David against them to say, "Go number Israel and Judah." The king said to Joab, the commander of the army who was with him, "Go about now through all the tribes of Israel from Dan to Beersheba, and register the people, that I may know the number of the people." But Joab said to the king, "Now may the Lord your God add to the people 100 times as many as they are, while the eyes of my lord the king still see. But why does my lord the king delight in this thing?" Nevertheless, the king's word prevailed against Joab and against the commanders of the army. So Joab and the commanders of the army went out from the presence of the king to register the people of Israel. They crossed the Jordan and camped at Aroer on the right side of the city that is in the middle of the valley of Gad and towards Jazer. Then they came to Gilead and to the land of Tatidhanshi. That's a hard one right there. It's a tough one. And they came to Dan Jaan and around to Sidon, and came to the fortress of Tyre and all the cities of the Hivites and of the Canaanites, and they went out to the south of Judah to Beersheba. So when they had gone about through the whole land, they came to Jerusalem at the end of 9 months and 20 days. And Joab gave the numbers of the registration of the people to the king, and there were in Israel 800,000 valiant men who drew the sword, and the men of Judah were 500,000 men. Now David's heart troubled him after he had numbered the people. So David said to the Lord, "I have sinned greatly in what I have done. But now, O Lord, please take away the iniquity of your servant, for I have acted very foolishly." When David arose in the morning, the word of the Lord came to the prophet Gad, David's seer, saying, "Go and speak to David. Thus the Lord says, I am offering you 3 things. Choose for yourself one of them, which I will do to you." So Gad came to David and told him, and said to him, "Shall 7 years of famine come to you in your land? Or will you flee 3 months before your foes while they pursue you? Or shall there be 3 days pestilence in your land? Now consider and see what answer I shall return to him who sent me." Then David said to Gad, "I am in great distress. Let us now fall into the hand of the Lord, for his mercies are great. but do not let me fall into the hand of man. So the Lord sent a pestilence upon Israel from the morning until the appointed time, and 70,000 men of the people from Dan to Beersheba died. And when the angel stretched out his hand towards Jerusalem to destroy it, the Lord relented from the calamity and said to the angel who destroyed the people, "It is enough. Now relax your hand." And the angel of the Lord was by the threshing floor of Araunah the Jebusite. I just wanted to say something here. Pestilence is an angel of the Lord. So if you kind of carry that over to Revelation, okay, because right here it says so. That's a pestilence is an angel of the Lord. Okay. Now relax your hand. And the angel of the Lord was by the threshing floor of Araunah the Jebusite. And David spoke to the Lord when he saw the angel who was striking down the people, and said, "Behold, it is I who have sinned, and it is I who have done wrong. But these sheep, what have they done? Please let your hand be against me and against my father's house." So Gad came to David that day and said to him, "Go up, erect an altar to the Lord on the threshing floor of Araunah the Jebusite." And David went up according to the word of Gad, just as the Lord had commanded. And Araunah looked up and saw the king and his servants crossing over toward him. And Araunah came out and bowed his face to the ground before the king. Then Araunah said, "Why has my lord the king come to his servant?" And David said, "To buy the threshing floor from you in order to build an altar to the Lord, that the plague may be held back from the people." And Araunah said to David, "Let my lord the king take and offer up what is good in his sight. Look, the oxen for the burnt offering, the threshing sledges, the yokes of the oxen for the wood. Everything, O king, Araunah gives to the king." And Araunah said to the king, "May the Lord your God accept you." However, the king said to Araunah, "No, but I will surely buy it from you for a price, for I will not offer burnt offerings to the Lord my God, which cost me nothing." So David bought the threshing floor and the oxen for 50 shekels of silver. David built there an altar to the Lord and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings. Thus the Lord was moved by prayer for the land, and the plague was held back from Israel. I just want you to notice here, though, David offered these offerings. He did not offer these offerings in the temple. He offered them in an altar, and he didn't call a priest to do it. David's not a Levite. Okay? And if you know what I just said, then you understand. If you don't, as you read through the Bible, you get to understand it. But so that's it for 2 Samuel. That's it for 2 Samuel chapter 24 and 2 Samuel. Thanks for listening, and God bless.